What if I told you that loyalty is a myth and power is the only truth? What if everything you believe about friendship, trust, and brotherhood is a comfortable lie wrapped in weakness? You think people are loyal to you? No, they're loyal to their needs. The moment your value drops, so does their loyalty. You're not surrounded by friends. You're surrounded by opportunists, waiting, watching, calculating. Let me be clear. This isn't motivation. This is psychological warfare. This is a war room, not a therapy session. This is not about feeling good. It's about becoming strong. Most people won't tell you the truth. I will, because I don't care how you feel. I care how you rise. You spend enough time seeking approval, enough time chasing applause, enough time believing that handshakes mean loyalty and smiles mean safety. You've given too much trust, too many chances, too many pieces of yourself to people who would sell you for a discount the moment their comfort is threatened. And you wonder why you feel betrayed? That's not betrayal. That's reality waking you up with a slap. Now it's time to wake up. Trust no one blindly. Respect everyone cautiously. Build yourself like a fortress, cold, calculated, unshakable. The world doesn't reward kindness. It rewards power. It bows to those who take, not to those who wait. You think you have allies? Wait until you get promoted. Wait until the spotlight turns in your direction. Watch how the handshakes become tighter and the eyes become colder. You think you're loved? Lose your status. Lose your money. Lose your position. And watch the silence grow louder than applause ever did. They're not with you. They're with your success. And when your success fades, so will they. Look around. Who would go to war for you? Who would starve with you? Who would stand with you when standing beside you cost them their own comfort? Few, if any. That's the truth. You've got soldiers who wear smiles, but they'll switch sides when the flag changes color. You're not the exception. You're the rule, until you accept the rule and rise above it. So understand this. No one is your friend, not truly. Not when power is on the table. Only allies. Conditional, strategic, temporary. And if you're not building yourself like a one-man army, you're already surrounded. This is your first and final warning. Fortify your mind, armor your trust, and sharpen your focus. The game has already begun, and the battlefield is your daily life. Here's why most people stay weak. They confuse friend with allies. They think loyalty is a permanent oath, not a temporary transaction. They believe that shared laughter means shared loyalty. It doesn't. Most people are loyal only as long as it serves them. The moment your direction no longer benefits their journey, they get off your train and pretend they were never on it. You've been told since childhood that friendship is sacred, that loyalty is a virtue, that people will stick with you through thick and thin. And you believed it. But let me rip that illusion apart before it kills your potential. The truth? People are only with you when you're useful, when you're relevant, when you benefit them. Lose your value. Watch how fast they disappear. Most people live their lives waiting for support, waiting for validation, waiting to be chosen. They think someone will pull them up, help them rise, rescue them when things fall apart. But that help never comes. Not really. Because when it's inconvenient, when it's risky, your friends vanish. They leave you to drown while whispering prayers from safe distance. You call it friendship. I call it fiction. And this blind trust, that's your weakness. You trust quickly. You trust loudly. And it makes you predictable, vulnerable, a target. They know what words you want to hear. So they speak them, not out of love, but out of leverage. You're handing over your power because you're afraid to walk alone. You're building your empire on borrowed hands. And one by one, those hands will pull back. You believe they'll clap for you? No, they'll wait for your fall. They'll cheer quietly when your momentum stutters, because your rise threatens them. Your growth reminds them of their own stagnation. They want to see you do well, but never better than them. That's the invisible contract you never read. In the moment you have nothing to offer, you become invisible. Like fog at dawn, you fade, not because you've changed, but because you no longer serve their interests. That's how fragile most relationships are, built not on loyalty, but on convenience. You think you're in a tribe, you're in a trade, and once the trade is over, so is the connection. If you don't learn to walk alone, you'll crawl behind others forever. If you don't become your own foundation, you'll be a burden on everyone else's. And nobody carries burdens for long, not even the ones who say they love you. Empires fall, not because their walls are weak, but because the king trusts the wrong voices. Courtiers who smile with daggers. advisors who speak flattery and plan betrayal. History repeats because kings don't learn. They keep trusting proximity as proof of loyalty. They confuse attention with allegiance, and it destroys them every time. Don't be that king. Don't be that fool. Let me paint it clearly. A general who sleeps in the enemy's camp doesn't wake up. That's what you're doing every time you hand your secrets, your ambitions, your pain to people who haven't earned that access. You're lying in a war zone without armor, without guards, without a plan. And when betrayal strikes, you act surprised. You build your house on sand and wonder why it sinks in the rain. You build your life around people, not principles. Around emotions, not evidence. Around promises, not patterns. And when the storm comes, and it will come, your structure collapses. Not because of the storm, but because of your foundation. Here's the real problem. You've been trained to seek connection before control, to find belonging before building, to chase comfort before clarity. And that makes you weak. And in this world, weakness is punished, not just by enemies, but by allies. Because the moment you can't hold your own, they will drop you to survive. Understand this. Every moment you live in illusion is a moment you hand over your throne. Every belief you carry that doesn't align with power, independence, and strategic clarity will cost you more than you know. Break the pattern, burn the softness, kill the delusion. The world isn't against you. It just doesn't owe you. And if you walk into battle with a trusting heart and an unguarded mind, you will be defeated. Not by your enemies, but by your expectations. It's time to install a new law into your operating system. One that demolishes fairy tales and builds empires. One that removes the fog from your mind and replaces it with steel. That law is simple, brutal, but liberating. No one is your friend. People are either assets or threats. There is no middle ground. This isn't bitterness. This isn't cynicism. This is survival. This is clarity. Ruthless clarity. The kind that keeps you alive in a world that trades in masks and motives. Power recalibrates every relationship. You rise, suddenly, people become careful. You fall, suddenly, people become silent. Their true faces are not revealed when you suffer. They are revealed when you succeed. Stay useful or get replaced. That's the unspoken rule. You were taught to be loyal, taught to be kind, taught to be trusting. But no one taught you how power works. No one taught you that when your presence threatens someone's position, they will smile while sharpening a blade behind your back. So let me be the one to teach you. Only fools believe in unconditional loyalty. The wise believe in conditional leverage. History doesn't whisper this truth, it screams it. Julius Caesar, one of the most powerful men to ever walk the earth, stabbed by Brutus, his closest ally. A man who swore devotion. A man who called him father. Power shifted. Allegiances changed. Caesar died, not because he lacked strength, but because he trusted. Steve Jobs, the visionary, the rebel, the builder of Apple, pushed out by the very board he assembled. The people he gave power to used it against him. He returned stronger, yes, but only after learning the lesson. Never empower those who don't fear losing you. Alexander the Great, a god among men in his era, poisoned by those within his inner circle. Possibly family, possibly friends. It doesn't matter, because when power concentrates, envy grows like mold in the dark. And the closer they are, the faster it spreads. These aren't just stories. These are warnings. If it happened to them, it will happen to you, unless you upgrade your mindset now. Here is your new mantra. I'm my own army. I depend on leverage, not loyalty. I trust systems, not smiles. You must become the general of your mind, the architect of your empire. Stop leaning on people who haven't earned your weight. Start building systems that don't rely on goodwill. Contracts, track records, patterns of behavior. These are your real allies. Words mean nothing. Behavior is everything. A person can tell you they love you and still envy your success. A friend can support you in public and sabotage you in silence. That's why you must shift from emotional trust to strategic analysis. Not do they like me, but do they depend on me? Not do they promise loyalty, but do they gain or lose by betraying me? This is not paranoia. This is preparation. You don't need to hate people. You need to read them. You don't need to isolate yourself. You need to insulate yourself with discernment, not desperation. Repeat after me. No one is your friend. No one is your friend. No one is your friend. Say it until the illusion dies. Say it until the fake bonds snap. Say it until your eyes see patterns, not promises. You don't need friends. You need alliances. Temporary, conditional, strategic. A lion doesn't need a pack. It needs territory. A general doesn't need praise. He needs a plan. And you don't need to be liked. You need to be respected, or feared, or both. Burn this into your brain. Every person in your life is either increasing your power or draining it. There is no neutrality in war. Let them call you cold. Let them call you distant. Let them say you've changed. Because you have. You're not the naive dreamer anymore. You're not the people pleaser. You're the commander now. And a commander doesn't base strategy on feelings. A commander bases it on outcomes. This is your new doctrine, your new lens, your new law. No more blind trust. No more soft expectations. No more disappointment. From now on, you watch. You record. You test. You calculate. You hold no one too close and no one too long. This is how power survives. This is how kings are made. This is how you become unbreakable. Now that you understand the law, it's time to live it. Not once, not occasionally, daily, without fail. You don't install this mindset by reading quotes. You forge it by routine, by ritual, by absolute, unbreakable standards. The enemy is not out there. It's in your habits, in your softness, in your hesitation. That ends today. Welcome to the blueprint. This is your battle plan. Tactical, ruthless, non negociable. Your success isn't random. It's engineered. It's not about motivation. It's about systems. Systems that reprogram your identity from weak to warrior, from dependent to dominant, from dreaming to building. Pillar 1, mindset warfare. The first battleground is your mind. Every war begins there. If you don't dominate your thoughts, they'll dominate you. Most people live in reaction. You will live in command. This begins every single morning. Before the world wakes, before your phone buzzes, before anyone else speaks, you declare war on mediocrity. You wake up and stand in front of a mirror, not to admire yourself, but to remind yourself, I build alone. I rise alone. I reign alone. Say it again, louder, with fire. This is not poetry. This is programming. Your brain needs repetition, not inspiration. Then you write, not your pain, not your drama. Write your wins. Write what you conquered yesterday. Write what you will conquer today. Because if you don't script your identity, the world will hand you one, and it'll be weak, passive, and forgettable. And before anything else, say, my throne is earned, not given. You're not entitled to greatness. You are not owed victory. You must take it, daily. No one's coming to rescue you. And if they did, you wouldn't let them. Pillar 2, physical discipline. Next comes the body. This is where most men die. Not in war, but in comfort, in couches, in excuses, in softness. Weak bodies create weak minds. If you can't command your limbs, you can't command your legacy. So we begin with fire. Cold showers. Every morning. Why? Because your first act must be domination over comfort. You don't begin your day in pleasure. You begin in power. Early rising. Before 5 a.m. Not because it's trendy, but because the world is quiet and your excuses are still asleep. No snooze buttons. No 5 more minutes. Every time you delay the day, you delay your destiny. And the food, the sleep, the sugar, all weakness cloaked in convenience. Remove it. Refuse it. Fuel your body like a machine built for conquest. Not indulgence. Not escape. Your body is a weapon. And weapons don't crave cake. They crave sharpening. Train daily. No negotiations. No sick days. No shortcuts. Even when you're tired. Especially when you're tired. That's when the line between kings and cowards is drawn. Pillar 3, strategic socialization. Now we move to people. This is where empires fall fastest. By trusting too much, too soon, too often. You've already learned, no one is your friend. But you must still engage with the world. So how? Strategically. Keep your circle tight and temporary. The smaller the circle, the smaller the risk. The shorter the chain, the fewer who can pull it. You don't need a tribe. You need utility-based allies. Contracts, exchanges, mutual leverage. Observe everyone. Absorb no one. Study behavior like a scientist. Detach. Analyze. Take notes. Everyone is a case study. What do they want? What do they fear? What patterns do they repeat? If someone lies once, they'll lie again. If someone flakes once, they'll flake again. Believe patterns, not promises. You build alliances, not friendships. Coalitions, not cliques. There's no permanent loyalty. There's only aligned interest. And when that interest expires, so does the connection. Cut emotionally. Connect tactically. You don't negotiate with weakness. Ever. You don't give yourself days off from discipline. You don't justify bad behavior with tired excuses. That ends now. No negociación. No lasinis. No planning. You don't gossip. You don't react. You don't waste time proving your moves. You move in silence and speak in results. You disappear to build. You appear to dominate. You're not visible until you're undeniable. You don't explain your ambition. You don't justify your standards. You don't beg to be understood. That's what the weak do. You're building something sacred. It doesn't need approval. It needs execution. And execution is your religion. Your daily command plan. This is your operating system. Repeat it until it becomes your nature. 5 a.m. rise. No debate. No es noce. Get up like your throne depends on it, because it does. 5:15 a.m. Mental priming. Stand in the mirror. Power stance. Breathe deep. Declare your mantra. I build alone. I rise alone. I reign alone. Then say, my throne is earned, not given. 5:30 morgens. Deep work. No distractions. No phone. No email. For 90 minutes, you build your empire. Write, code, plan, study, execute. This is the sacred hour. Guard it with your life. 7 a.m. Physical training. Move, lift, run, sweat. Your body is your battlefield. Master it daily. Pain is proof of growth. Chase it. 8 a.m. Fuel and strategize. Eat for function, not flavor. Review your goals. Reassess your alliances. Who adds weight? Who lifts? Who leeches? Audit your circle daily. Trim the dead wood ruthlessly. Throughout the day, execute relentlessly. No small talk. No wasted time. Every conversation must serve purpose. Every action must echo your mission. Night. Reflect, not relax. What did you conquer today? What pattern did you spot? What weakness still lingers? Journal. Not your feelings, your findings. Sleep early. Wake earlier. And never break this chain. This is not a lifestyle. This is a military doctrine for modern kings. This is not for the casual. This is for the obsessed. You don't try this. You live it. And if you slip, you restart. No self-pity. No guilt. Just reset and reload. You're not like them. You were not born for comfort. You were forged for conquest. They chase friendship. You chase power. They want weekends. You want a legacy. Follow this blueprint. Obey it like law. Refuse to bend. Refuse to explain. Refuse to dilute your mission for people who live in delay. You want control? This is the cost. This is the blueprint. Live it, or be forgotten. Look at you now. You walk differently. Not with arrogance, but with certainty, with gravity. Your presence makes noise before you even speak. When you do speak, it's few words, but every word lands like steel, measured, precise, undeniable. You no longer throw your energy everywhere. You aim it like a weapon. You're not bitter. You're aware. You're not cold. You're calculated. You're not detached. You're dangerous. This is what happens when a person wakes up. This is what happens when softness dies and clarity is born. People will notice. They'll whisper. They'll wonder. They'll say, you've changed. And you'll answer, finally. They'll say, you're too distant. And you'll reply, I'm focused. They'll say, you've become hard. And you'll say with zero hesitation, I became a fortress. Because you did. You built walls, not to shut people out, but to keep your empire intact. You stopped explaining yourself because visionaries don't debate with the blind. You stopped waiting for loyalty because now you use leverage. You stopped fearing loneliness because you weaponize solitude. You don't chase acceptance anymore. You attract respect. You don't crave support. You build systems. You're not just surviving. You're commanding. There's no going back. The man or woman you were, gone, buried. In their place stands someone unrecognizable, sharper, stronger, silent and lethal. No longer begging, no longer explaining, just executing. You become the storm you were once hiding from. Now say this out loud. Say it with fire in your blood. No one is my friend, only allies until the power shifts. Say it again. I build alone. I rise alone. I reign alone. Feel it echo through your chest. Let it become your law. Now go. Start today, not tomorrow. Not when you're ready. Now, because kings don't wait, and soldiers don't hesitate. You've trained. You've transformed. Now it's time to take the throne.